Hey, I'm Chris. Welcome to the Strength Kitchen. We're going to make some pizza dough right now. We're going to mix it. We're going to stretch and fold. It's going to go through bulk fermentation. This is the part 2 in the whole sourdough pizza series. And if you don't know how many pizzas you want to make or what size batch of dough that you need to make the amount of pizzas that you want to make, I'll link in the description to part 1 where we kind of go through the math and the scaling of the recipe. So here we go. Let's make some pizza dough. Okay, so if you've seen the Do It All Dough video, this is the same as that. We're gonna keep things really simple. Just really quick note on salt. I'm gonna go salt from the beginning. It's not gonna prevent my flour from absorbing the water. It's gonna be just fine. It's not gonna kill my starter. I know you can put the salt in after an autolyse phase where, the first stretch and fold, then we go salt. We're not doing that. It's cool, don't worry, this is gonna be fine. If you're familiar with that technique, by all means, do your thing. You can go either way. So I'm making my 725 gram batch. We're gonna kind of roll through this quick because I feel like this should be familiar, but if it's not, we're doing it. So 14.5 grams of salt. Actually, it's 15. I have pre-measured everything. Everything is weighed in grams. I've got some slightly warmer than room temperature water, 545 grams, my 75% flour. Camera 2, we good? Yeah, we're good. And I'm just going to stir my salt in, just get it to dissolve, distribute it into my water. Why am I going a little bit warmer with my water? Because it's winter time and it's cold, and the kitchen's, running a bit cool. And if I want this to be a same day kind of pizza dough where I make pizza tonight at like 6 o'clock, 7 a.m., then I need to kind of help my dough by making the water a bit warmer. I've got some beautiful starter here. See, there it is. Nice and airy, light and marshmallowy. And, oh, I didn't weigh my starter. Of course I didn't, because it's in the jar where it was fed. All right, so zero this out. We need 145 grams of starter for my 75% hydration. If I were to put like just a little nugget in here, float test, right? Does it float? Of course it does. It's not the best indicator of dough health and well-being. I know that because my dough has tripled in volume and it took, 8 hours, 10 hours to do that, that my starter is active. It's ready to leaven pizza dough. So I'm not worried about, a float test being an accurate measurement of starter activity. But we do, it is always cool to see like, hey, look, it floats. Let's see, did I get out of my shot? No, I'm good. Okay, and then nice, light, active. Starter smells good. Smells fresh and doughy, a little yeasty. And I'm just gonna break it up here, just create kind of a creamy, mostly homogeneous mixture. And if we've got little flecks of starter, it's okay. Somebody asked me, could I use a whisk for this one time? And I said, okay, I guess. I mean, if you feel like you want to use a whisk. I'm not trying to incorporate air, but I mean, if a whisk helps you to, mix it together, I mean, what would that take though? 45 seconds or something? Anyway, so we've got salt, we've got water, we've got starter, and then here's my 725 grams of bread flour. You cannot use all-purpose flour for this. Well, I guess you could, but I don't recommend it. We want that higher protein content of a bread flour. So our pizza dough has more structure. We've got a chewy interior, nice crust. Okay, mixing. We're gonna use a hand, like a paddle, and we're gonna work from 12 o'clock side of the bowl. So 12 o'clock, 6 o'clock. And I'm just gonna pull from 12 to the middle, tap, tap, turn it, pull, tap, tap. And we're just working our way around in a circle. And the whole goal here is to make the flour and the water combine together so the water kind of goes away. And this is going to be a sticky mess. It will come together. It'll be kind of a rough, shaggy kind of dough. You can use the side of your finger to scrape down the side as you work your way around. If you go on the warmer side, like my water's probably just below body temperature, it's like warm to the touch, sort of, it's gonna be a little more sticky just because of the water temperature. So if you are in an environment where the high today is gonna be 25 degrees and your kitchen is 63 this morning, because you turn the heater off at night, then going a little bit warmer underwater is probably a good idea. All right, so you notice I changed to grabbing my dough. It's starting to come together, but when you grab it, not with the palm of the hand. You want to keep all the dough on your fingers. No matter what happens, do not grab the dough with your whole hand, because then it's going to be a battle. All right, scrape down the sides with my index finger. And now I'm kind of picking up my dough and I'm rolling it down this 12 o'clock side of the bowl. And then I'll kind of reorganize it, rotate it. I'm just really trying to get it to come together. Once we get to the first stretch and fold, it'll really smooth out. But right now I'm trying to feel that there's like a consistent feel to it. Like when I go to grab inside of it, I want to feel like that there are not any like tough, floury spots. Like I feel like I got like kind of a tough spot right there. And also I don't want any like really wet, like puddly soft spots in there either. So I'm just going to manipulate it until it has like a consistent feel to it. And you can see it's got like a little bit of stretch here. And just, try and have all, be observant of everything that's happening, so you're aware of how it changes as you work with it. So yep, now what am I doing? I'm kind of picking it up, stretching, and bringing it to the middle. And this is about it. This is really all we're doing here. That's about as much as it needs to come together. My palm's pretty clean. I've got a little dough on my fingers. I'm going to get my hand wet. My other hand, just so I can pull off some of that dough and keep it. And my bowl's pretty clean, but because I went, a little bit warmer with my water, it's a little sticky. But all this stuff that's on the side here, I'm just going to grab a bowl scraper real quick and just scrape it down. There's no need to leave all that stuff on the side of the bowl. And then as far as, plastic bowl scraper. This, like my hand, pretty clean, right? But I'm going to take a paper towel and just get the rest of this off, just so I'm not washing a ton of flour down the drain in the kitchen, because I make a lot of bread. Okay, bowl scraper, plastic bowl scraper. I'm just going to give it a scrape. There's not much to scrape, but I like having like a pretty clean bowl. And that's it. So there's our dough. And in 40 minutes from now, 30 to 45 minutes, we're going to get our first stretch and fold, which is really a process of developing the gluten protein and building elasticity into the dough so it can ferment and expand and produce air and have an amazing chewy, open, light crumb. So I'll see you in 45 minutes, 40 minutes, something in that neighborhood, and we'll go through our first stretch and fold. There will be 4 of them. All right, and then one last thing, pro tip. Granite is cold. Doesn't matter if it's 63 degrees in your kitchen. We want to protect our dough from cold because cold slows it down. So towel, give it a little protection from the cold granite, and a lid. I like these silicone lids because you can reuse them. Plastic wrap works too. All right, it's been 40 minutes. Here's our dough. We're going to go first stretch and fold right now. So real important, a little bit of moisture in your hands. A little bowl of cold water right here. I'm gonna get my right hand wet and then spread that water into my left hand. And then I'm going to use my hand. I'm going to go kind of around the side of the bowl to release it. And if it feels like your hand gets a little too sticky, get it a little more wet. Water is our friend. So I'm pulling it. I'm going to pull it out of the bowl. And then I'm going to take this hanging side. I'm going to tuck it under the other hanging side, tuck it under, and I'm just working my way around, trying to bring the dough on the outsides to the middle. And you can think of it this way, so I know I had to go quick. Right side under, left side under, 90-degree turn. Right side under, left side under, 90-degree turn. And I'm just looking to put a little bit of tension in here. And it's, you can see it's smoothing out. I just want to take it to a point where, let's see, in this camera, there's two cameras. So you can start to see like it's tearing right there. Like I've taken it to the end of what the dough can tolerate as far as tension. So I'm going to go back into the bowl. That's really it. And this first stretch and fold is going to be kind of sticky, especially with my dough being as warm as it is, because I've used some pretty warm water, but not that sticky. I've got a little bit of dough on my hands, but not a lot. So in the bowl, you can see like right there where it's kind of pulling apart. But as we get to the second, the third, and the fourth stretch and fold, you'll see this really become elastic. So if the first one's a little sticky for you, that is to be expected, especially if you're using warmer water to accommodate your environment. With colder water, probably not as sticky. It's just different that way. All right, I'll see you in 30 to 45 minutes, and we'll do this again. Okay, here we go. It's our second stretch and fold. It's 40 minutes later, because that's just what time I remembered to do this at. You could set a timer. All right, so if you look at this image, you can see like right here, that's where it's kind of tearing open, and you can see it's like opened up more because the dough is expanding. It's kind of filling out, the space that's available, and it's pulling on itself. So we want to try and avoid those tears for that reason. The first stretch and fold, it's a quick one, especially with the warmth that I've put in my dough. So when we go around this time, you'll be able to kind of see more of what's happening here. And the whole point of this is to develop tension and get the dough pulling on itself so those gluten bonds can form and create elasticity so it can expand, and air pockets can develop. The carbon dioxide gas can have a place to go. Same process. I'm gonna get my hand wet. I'm gonna release it from the bowl, and when I pull it out, we're going right under to the middle, and then left under to the middle, a 90-degree turn, right, left, and we're just gonna work our way around this out of our way so you can see. So here's the left side to the middle, the right side to the middle, 90-degree turn, tuck, tuck, just stick it under there. And I've got nice smooth surface here. It doesn't take much effort to put some tension into the dough, and you can already see, let's see, we're getting any tears? We've got a really nice smooth surface here, and it's it's not sticking to my hands. It's got a nice shape to it. That's it. That's all we need. It's got tension. It's going back in the bowl. Maybe tuck some of these edges under a little bit so it looks good. And that's it. We'll come back another 30 to 45 minutes, and we'll do this again for our third round. All right, pizza dough. This is our third stretch and fold. So let's see. Take a look. It's nice and smooth. It's expanded. It's moving around a little bit. It's okay. Wet hands. Not too wet. Damp. Remember, if you get your hands too wet, you can't stick the dough to itself. If your hands are not wet enough, the dough's sticking to you. So there's a sweet spot. But look at how cooperative it is now. So we are going to make pizza later. So you don't need to be afraid to play with your dough right now, because eventually you're going to be doing something like this later. So I'm just kind of feeling it out. Be aware of how elastic it's becoming. How does it smell? What's the temperature of the dough? And just get like an overall sense of like the whole picture of what's going on here. So what the heck did I just do? That wasn't the stretch and fold we did before. Well, basically I just gave it a little bit of stretch. I was just kind of curious about how much elasticity we had. And then I folded it up. And I'm tucking all my corners under to get it pulling on itself. So there are no hard, fast rules on what we're doing here. And I'm not afraid to give it some manipulation. We're not trying to preserve air. We're trying to develop strength. And stretching it and giving it some agitation like that is helpful in achieving that goal. So that's it. I'm done messing around with this guy. We're back into a nicely formed ball. It's smooth. We can see some air bubbles in it. And we've got one more stretch and fold to do together, and then it's just going to hang out, autopilot. So I'll see you in another 30 or 45 minutes. Okay, this is it. It's been another 35 minutes. Neighborhood, 30 to 45 minutes. Let's do this one last time. I got other stuff to do. Here it comes, out of the bowl. take this side, just like we've been doing, tuck it into the middle, tuck that one into the middle, there's that 90-degree turn, and then some more folds. I'm just gonna work my way around from there. Create some tension. I know, I didn't play with it this time. Whatever. So, that's got a nice shape to it. It's really not sticky. It's elastic, it's real supple, it's smooth. This is just a nice compact 725 gram batch of dough, you know, my flour weight. So back in the bowl. Now what happens? Now the dough is on its own. So for the next, depending on your environment, 4 to 8 hours, geez, I hope not 8 hours, that would be terrible. It's gonna sit here and it's gonna develop. It's gonna go through a process of bulk fermentation, which really just means it's gonna double in volume. It's gonna expand, it's gonna develop, it's gonna grow in size. So once this has doubled, which usually in my environment, even though it's kind of cold, that's why I use warmer water, it's 4 hours. It's like a 4, maybe 5 hour process of it growing and developing until it's doubled in size. At that point, we'll jump back in, we get back together, we're gonna go through the process of portioning, we're gonna weigh out our dough, we're gonna ball it, and then it's gonna go in the fridge. So I'll see you when this is doubled in volume.